Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rugby Brough Council's Cabinet meeting today. I'm Councillor Michael Moran, Leader of the Council and Chair of the Cabinet. The meeting has been web streamed to the public through the Council's YouTube channel. During the meeting, when asked to speak, please use the push to talk button on the microphone in front of you. I'll carry on. Before we begin the formal agenda, I'm obliged to read out the following fire notice. There is no fire drill scheduled in the building this evening. If the fire alarm does sound, then please could I ask that you make your way out of the building, down the main staircase and out of the main doors of the Town Hall and congregate at the entrance to Caldergut Park. An officer of the Council will give instructions on when it is safe to return to the building. If we move on to the agenda, please, for minutes, could we confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 2nd of December?
Chair, I'll move the minutes.
Okay, thank you. And all in favour? Okay, good. Thank you very much. Item 2 on the agenda, apologies.
Chair, we have apologies from Councillor Robinson.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to item 3, declarations of interest. Okay, so to receive declarations of A, any non-pecuniary interests as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for councillors. Do we have any takers for that? Nope. Okay, moving on, item B, pecuniary interests as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for councillors. Anybody for that one? No. And then item C, notice under section 106 of the Local Government Finance Act 1992, non-payment of council charge or council tax. Do we have anyone in that category? Okay, no. Okay, moving on then. Question time. Do we have any questions, Deputy Chief Executive?
Chair, we have no questions this evening.
Thank you very much. Okay, so if we're moving through the agenda, so we've nothing to report this evening in the growth and investment, digital and communications portfolio. But for item 5 in the partnerships and wellbeing portfolio, we have an item Rugby World Cup 2025. Could I call on Councillor O'Rourke to introduce the agenda item, please?
Yes, can I move the report first?
Chair, I'll second that.
Thank you. I know, but I like to stand up. It gives me great pleasure, actually, to bring this forward. It's a recommendation for a one-off £38,000 to actually recognise and celebrate 25 years of international women's rugby. And as we all know, the game will actually be played in this country this year, later on in the year, which is absolutely fantastic. There's a whole programme of events that are really inclusive, and a lot of them as well. I know that we'll also be investing in another statue, which I believe will be of 2 female rugby players. I think it's a really brilliant opportunity not only to celebrate our heritage, but also to actually, get more youngsters and women involved in sport. I think it will be absolutely fantastic, and I think it's the right thing to do, and I really look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Rourke. Could I invite the Conservative Group? Do you like anything to comment or say?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, Councillor O'Rourke, for the report. As a fan of the game, it's great to see this report come forward, and it's good to see that we're continuing rugby's tradition of celebrating the game and during World Cup festivals. Just 2 slight observations. So the first is that in the table at part 3 for the project expenditure breakdown, there's a reference to an opening game festival, which sounds great, but there's precious little detail in the report as to what that will actually include. And it refers to stalls and food and drink, so presumably that's going to be market stalls and traders. The other observation I had is that our or one of the local teams for rugby, Northampton, is hosting some of the games. And I know from personal experience that Franklin Gardens is about 40 minutes away from the centre of rugby. So I was wondering whether there were any plans to engage with Northampton Saints to try and encourage people to come over this way for a game.
Sorry, Councillor Rourke, hold on. If it might be, listen to all comments, any queries, questions, then perhaps come back in one hit. That might be a bit more effective. So, Councillor Picker, anything more to say? Can I invite the Liberal Democrat group? Anything to say?
Thanks. It's not dissimilar in a way. It's great to see the project expenditure breakdowns, but I think we do need to see some breakdown behind the figures and also what the expected outcomes are. So, yeah, the value for money for the taxpayer at the end of the day is what we need to see. And I look forward to some of the work that's coming forward from this. I do welcome the primary school rugby programme and that development there, which I think will be worthwhile. But some of the outcomes relating to that would be good.
Thank you. All I was going to add, Councillor Rourke, is just, I guess, to thank you for promoting and pushing this such a key item, because I think as councillors, certainly as the new administration, we've been very keen to talk beyond to set a new future for rugby in terms of an ambitious economic strategy. I think that's really, really great, but I think it's really incumbent not to forget, to some extent, what the town is famous for. And I think it's really good to do those things hand in hand. So could I pass back to you, Councillor O'Rourke, to answer the question from Councillor Picker?
I'm happy to do that. To both Councillor Woodhouse and also Councillor Picker, there will of course be more detail, and as soon as I have all of that detail, I know it's not in this report, but there is the detail there, we'll make sure that that's shared with you. And there will be measures around footfall and other stuff. We do obviously already count numbers visiting the sort of Rugby Art Gallery Museum. So there will be mechanisms in there to actually show, as we would expect from people that we commission to deliver services, we want to see that we are, getting value for money. So I will ask the officer to make sure that both of the group leaders are given all the other details in terms of the whole schedule. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Rourke, for that sort of comprehensive reply. Can I ask that we put the motion to the vote, please? Yeah, that's all good. Thank you very much. That motion is carried. Okay, moving on, please. Item number 6. We've got Finance, Performance, Legal and Governance Portfolio. To you, Councillor Mystery.
Thank you, Chair. I move the recommendation that the draft general fund revenue position for 2025-26, alongside the council, medium-term financial plan, be considered, and also the council tax base as outlined in Appendix 2 be approved. I move so.
Can I second that, please?
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Rourke. Okay, moving on. Any comments, questions from the Liberal Democrat group? And comments, questions from the Conservative group? No? Okay. I'll go back then to put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please show your hands. Thank you very much. That's carried. Okay, moving on to the Communities, Homes, Regulation and Safety Portfolio, item number 7, Councillor Edwards, air quality.
Thank you, Chair. Can I recommend the report on the Annual Status Report 2024 and the Air Quality Action Plan 24-28 be adopted and go on to full council at its next opportunity?
Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I invite any comments from the Conservative group?
We can discuss this at council.
Okay, good. We've got to use this equally. Please do use this forum as well. Otherwise, it's a bit of a wasted exercise. Any comments from the Liberal Democrat group? Okay, good. Well, all I'd like to add is that thank you, Councillor Edwards, for I know the work that you put into this, because it is clearly one of those areas that is about the most important areas that we actually cover. So thank you for that. Can I put the motion to the vote? All those in favour, please? Great, that's carried. Thank you very much. Back to you, Councillor Edwards. Establishment of a Rugby Landlord Forum.
Thank you, Chair. I was going to speak on the last item, but we've moved on, so don't worry. We'll get it. It will come back to full council, and I will wax lyrical at that point. Thank you. Can I move the report on establishment of a Rugby Landlord Forum?
Chair, I'll second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The recommendation is that we establish a new Rugby Landlord Forum. I'm really pleased that officers and members have worked so hard on getting this piece of work as far as it has come today. I think there is great value in working in partnership with the private sector and the wider partners within the Rugby Borough area, and I thoroughly recommend that we move this piece of work onwards, because access to good quality housing is absolutely fundamental to our prosperity moving forward.
Thank you very much, Councillor Edwards. Can I go to the Conservative group? Any comments or questions?
Again, I think there'll be an opportunity to discuss this in greater detail at full council, though I will be interested to hear the feedback from private landlords remaining in Rugby.
Thank you, Councillor Pickett. Anything from the Liberal Democrats to say at this point?
Yeah, just to say I do welcome this. It's been a long time in the coming, really, to this. And I welcome in paragraph 2.12 the review of the private erected sector charter, which does definitely need to be adopted by private landlords.
Thank you, and endorse that completely. Sort of coming back now, it's a long time ago, pre-Christmas, where we had a sort of an extensive debate here on this in sort of the sort of pre-cabinet chairs meeting. And I think for me, what's intrinsic here is that we utilise best practice across other towns, cities, other public authorities, to make sure that we get that engagement as much as we can with landlords, so we can make something of this. So thank you for all the officers for the hard work to date. If I bring it back to the Cabinet then, can I put the motion to the vote and ask those in favour, please, to raise their hands? Okay, thank you very much. That's carried. Last but not least, going back to you again, Councillor Edwards, item number 9, the draft housing revenue account, capital and revenue budget and the medium-term financial plan.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move this report.
Chair, I'll second that motion. Thank you.
I'm not going to go into great detail. For some reason, my voice is croaking as well this evening. This is not the first opportunity we've seen to look at the housing revenue account for 25-26. There was a member workshop looking at it in detail late last year. It will come back to the next cabinet. It will come back to a special full council on the 4th of February. So this really is a first draft, an initial view of the revenue account. I would urge members to read it and inwardly digest, and we welcome questions as we set our rents moving forward for the next year. But I have to thank officers for all their hard work in putting this together. It is a hefty piece of paper and takes a lot of time and effort. But I'm confident that we are in a good place and moving forward positively. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Edwards. Okay, if I go to Councillor Pickett, would you like to have anything to say here?
As Councillor Edwards has alluded to, there is a special council to discuss this item, but I think I would share her comments about the level of work that goes into this particular report. I think it's, along with the budget, probably one of the two most important reports that this council produces annually. There is a lot of detail in there, and we'll explore it all together on the 4th of February.
Thank you very much. Councillor Roodhouse, Councillor Mackenzie, anything to add here?
Yeah, or not to explore. Anyhow, I do welcome, and I want to place on record our thanks to the staff and officers within the department. Certainly if you're looking at the level of voids now, that's certainly significantly reduced from where it was. And I have no doubt there'll be further discussions as we go through this process towards the full council meeting. It's also, after last year's rent increase, at least we're coming in at a more sensible level this year. But of course it's not in our gift in that relation to that, the government elements proposed along those lines. So, yeah, we'll move along and then explore it further.
Thank you very much. Okay, could I put the motion to the vote? Ask those in favour to raise their hands, please. Great, that's carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to Operations Traded Services Portfolio, item number 10, Councillor Livesey.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move the report.
Thank you, Chair. I will second the motion.
So I don't want to speak in great detail about this, but I do want to say thanks to the officers, or officer, I should say, for all the hard work. This report has been a long time in the gestation. We had the report written for us by the Sustainability West Midlands. We've had discussions about it in the Climate Emergency Working Group, both recently and prior when Councillor Picker was chair of that. And we've recently had the World Cafe event where members of the public were able to share their views about it. And it really is now a chance for us to start moving forward on our climate change work. I should also say I'm very pleased to be able to say that we have our climate change officer has started in the last few days, Ellie Lawson, and I'm sure she's going to make a big difference.
Thank you very much, Councillor Livesey. Could I invite Councillor Roodhouse, Councillor Mackenzie, anything to add here?
I would just like to say I really welcome this report. I think it's very important that we not only try and reduce our impact on the planet, but we also recognise that actually things have got to the point where we have to adapt to the world that we live in. And we know from speaking to residents just how traumatic it is when flooding and other events occur and cause damage and people to be out of their homes. And, you know, we have another big storm coming in later this week. This is our new reality, and I think adaptation is hugely important. So I'm glad to have this report in here. I think there's so much that needs to be done to deal with flash flooding, to deal with heat, to deal with, you know, all the things that we're seeing, increased wind speed. So I very much welcome this. Thank you.
Councillor Picker, have you anything to add here?
I was just going to thank Councillor Livesey for her kind comments, as it has been a while getting this report together and began under the previous administration. It's great to see that adaptation is at the focus and the heart of this, because it is about managing how we move forward as a community, as residents, as businesses. So we will discuss this further at Council.
No, thank you. Look forward to that. I always lose track whether it was July 18 or July 19 that the Council declared a climate emergency. So it's great that it's taken 5 or 6 years and a new administration to start moving things on. So I welcome your contribution to come in that debate. Can I go back to Councillor Livesey, please? And can we put the motion to the vote and ask for those in favour? Great, thank you very much. That's carried. And that's the end of the public agenda. Oh, I apologise, sorry. Item 11. Is that Councillor O'Rourke, sorry. The pay policy statement, sorry.
Yes, can I move the pay policy?
I'll second that, Chair.
Great, thank you. And can I go to the Conservatives? Anything to add on this? Perhaps while you're deciding what to say, could I go to the Liberal Democrat group? Anything to add? No? Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, it was seconded. So could I go to put the motion to the vote then, to raise hands, to take it forward? Thank you very much. That's all in favour. So running before I could walk, if I now move the motion to exclude the public under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972 to consider the following resolution. Under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972, the public will be excluded from the meeting for the following items, the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of information defined in paragraphs 1, 2 and 3 of Schedule 12A of the Act. So we can move on, when everyone can get a chance to leave, to part 2 for exempt information.
I'll move that, Chair.
Thank you very much. And if we could go to the vote then to exclude the public. That's great. Thank you very much.